What's up, everybody? A Spare with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on Space Engineers Programming 101. When we left off in the last episode, we had kind of reformatted our, whatchamacallit, our OS system here to utilize the buttons over the lights. So now we can actually navigate our way up and down through the system without there being an issue. So one thing that is now left to work on, and what we're going to work on today, is branching menus so that we can actually go into some of these things to check them. For example, if this was just your, screen you were greeted with, then we want to be able to basically go through it and kind of be able to move into this system so that we can actually have a menu system to work with. So, first things first, we need to actually comment this. So let's make this main, well, just main loop, I guess. Yeah, that'll be fine. So I'm actually going to... Alright, so what we're gonna need is we're gonna need some more functions, I think. Yeah, so we've got our setup menu. What's startup doing? Setup controls, setup displays, setup menu. We might want to put that before... it won't matter. It won't matter, because it calls all these before we do anything. Okay, so what we're going to need to do, then, is we're going to also need... well, we can actually add this to the setup menu, or setup main menu method. We'll just branch it down, I guess. See how that works. So, first off, we need a new list. We're going to do it the same way because ultimately this doesn't actually have to hold any values, really. We just need names, basically labeling everything. So we're going to call this... Let's start... What do we have? We have inventory, refinery status, power status, oxygen status. Let's do... Let's start with power, maybe? Yeah, let's start with power. Or, well, we've kind of wanted to... We've worked with power before. Let's start with inventory. Inventory options. And we'll do a new list of strings. And close parentheses. Now, we'll add in more later, but... for now, we just need to have what we're going to work with. This is setup main menu. I wonder if I should make another... Yeah, let's just keep it clean and do another inventory menu. And then what we'll do is we'll just have it call... let's say set total main menu options. Now, we could just call this from up here in startup. We could just say setup inventory menu, which, yeah, that's actually probably the better way to do it. I was trying to kind of compartmentalize. Let's say populate menu options. Okay, so up here we're going to call setup inventory. Oops. Where is that semicolon key? There we go. Gosh. Okay, so from here we're going to need inventory options dot add And I'm just going to make a blank string, and then we're going to copy this line so that we can use it however we want. Okay, so first thing, let's check. Let's do individual inventory summary. Let's do total inventory summary. And the difference here is, you'll recall in that short basic one that we had on the ship before we turned it into a creative build in my Let's Play, we had it basically where you could toggle whether or not you wanted to take all of the inventories and display everything that was in them, or whether you wanted to basically do like individual. So individual being you know, like keep all the inventory information separate, even if there's iron in 2 different crates. It would list it in 2 different places under 2 different crates, whereas the total would be like add up how much iron you have and then display it as one total. And we'll probably end up using some of that code in here as well for now. And then let's add another one. I'm just thinking of options we might want. Let me know in the comments of things you might want to add to the system, because I'm not opposed to making this a robust, like it does everything kind of system. So let me know things that you'd like to see. Granted, some of it has to be within reason, but it's like, you know, if you want it, like, oh, we could work on doing this. It gives me fuel for the episodes, like things to do, is adding new features. So for now, what's the other thing? Let's do show inventories. What this one will do, or let's make it fancy, and we'll do display inventories, or display all inventories. So what this option would do is basically display all of the let's see, all of the different like things you could do with it, as far as everything that had an inventory, basically anything that could store items. This will display all the different blocks that you have that would give you an item, basically, is my theorem here. We're also, let's take and space this, and then we're going to make a new one up here called total inv options equals 0. Let's actually do this differently. We're going to do menu option variables, or menu option counts? Yeah, we'll leave it like that for now. And then we'll make this menu selections. I'm making this plural. I might be able to pull off using this if we configure it correctly. But if we need to add separate values, we'll do that. But I think we can get away with using just that one, possibly. Now what we're going to do is kind of like we did up here. Inventory options. And then we'll do set total inventory options. And we'll say, oh crap, what did I name it? Total INV, yeah. Equals inventory options dot count. Now, what I don't remember, total main options -1. We'll leave that. Okay, so now we should have an inventory menu set up here that we can access, but we need to be able to access it. So this also requires us to change some of this up. What we're going to do here, we also need, now that we have multiple menus, we also need, maybe under selections, we need menu... let's actually, I could probably put it under selections. We're going to do string and call this current menu equals, and we'll leave it blank for now. Actually, we'll start it as main. Main will be the global start point. And what we'll do is we need a switch case here where we're going to put in current menu, and then we're gonna have to, oh geez, we're gonna have to like tab all this over. Ugh. And I can't. I hate this editor sometimes. Alright, give me just a minute. Okay. So basically what I did is we made this switch case and I formatted it as it stands. So you have, I think we've used switch cases before, I'm not really sure. A switch case with embedded if statements is very powerful. You can do a lot with this. So we have a switch, then in parentheses you have a value or a variable, and then you have the curly braces that kind of bookend it. Then you have a case. Inside the case you have the value that you're looking for, which of course if it's a string you need the little quotes, and then a colon, and then all of your things to do if that case matches, and then a break statement at the end with a semicolon to break out of that case when you're done. So it's kind of a, you can use a bunch of nested if statements, like you could put this as if current menu equals main, and do the same thing. I think switch cases are cleaner when you have that many options. We could do the same thing with input, actually. We could do a switch inside of a switch. I don't know which would technically be cleaner. Let's actually try it on the other one and we'll see if there's less space. So now what we need to do is make a case for inventory. And then I'm just going to add a break line there. Now, in here, we're going to do this one different, like I just said. We're going to try and do a second switch case inside here and make it input. And see if this ends up being cleaner or not. And we can do a case for up, what is it? Up, down, back, select. So up. Oops, a little farther. And then let's go ahead and copy this. Down, back, select. And now we can change this out. Is select on the bottom? I probably should put back on the bottom. Let's do that. And then, because back is probably going to be one of the easier ones to do, and we're going to switch this to... Let's get rid of that. I could have cut that, I guess. Alright. And what we're going to do here is we're going to change this, since that didn't really work anyway, and we're going to make current menu equal to inventory. Well, okay, hold on. We need a switch case here, actually. Let's see. Okay, so we need to check selected menu item here. Okay, and let's do if selected menu item equals, what's this gonna be? 0 will be inventory summary, 1, 2, and 3. So 0. And again, we're just going to copy this. And we'll change this to 1, 2, and 3. Now, this should compile. Now, one thing I want to check, I'm pretty sure switch cases you're allowed to do comments there without... Yes, it should work without commenting out the next line. Kind of like putting it on the end here of an if statement that it's not actually blocking anything. Alright, so the next one is refinery, then power, then oxygen. Since this is numbers, or these are numbers, sorry. Wait a minute, what? Oh, it's just spacing of the letters, I guess. Hold on. That doesn't look right. Did I have a space before I tabbed? Yeah, I think I did. Okay, that's better. That kind of stuff bugs me. Power. But because... Yeah, I did something like that last time. Oxygen. Because the first selected menu item was done as an integer and not a string, so that you can loop through it, we don't have number or string statements to identify everything. So now what we can do is say we hit select and we're currently set to inventory, which would be selected menu item equals 0. In this case, what we want to do is say current menu is equal to inventory. That way, once it's selected, it will run through, and when it comes back in this time, up here, the switch will say that current menu is equal to inventory, so let's do this. Now, we're also going to have to change this up. Okay, okay. Okay. I think we can figure this out. So we're gonna do a new thing here. Write inventory menu. And then we'll need a simple an if statement should work. Again, we can use switch cases, but it really comes down to programmer preference as to what you like and don't like using. For this one, I'm just going to write an if, saying if current menu equals main. This is kind of the other way to do it, I suppose, instead of switch case. Else if current menu equals inventory, then we want to write inventory menu. So, and we can get rid of this line. This isn't doing anything. That was just for my thumbnails so that I could show people something different. So, what you can see is that the, to me, personally, I don't mind using the if ones if it's like a couple of lines for each thing, like this. Because a switch case, you need the switch statement, you need the case statements, and then you need the breaks. So it can be a little cluttered when all you need is one line per if. When you run into stuff like this, where we're going to do multiple things per thing, switch cases can be a little bit cleaner because you don't have a bunch of brackets everywhere, you don't have a bunch of if current equals such and such, it's just if this, any of these, you know. One other option, one other really cool part about switch cases, if you don't leave the break, then two statements will do the same thing. So for example, if we wanted up and down to do the same thing. Obviously you would not want to do that, but just in case you did, you could do case up and then just do case down. Then put a break here. And then here just do your stuff. What would happen here is if it's equal to up, it would just drop down here and do the next thing. So if you have things where we want it to work the same way unless it runs into this, switch cases can be kind of lucrative that way. Just kind of a side note. Alright. Current menu equals inventory. The one problem that I foresee here, and I'm just going to duplicate this, I think, and we'll just change some stuff out. So, for example, right, that's fine. And the false line will clear it, which is good. We're going to do... We need inventory. I think inventory options. Yeah. So inventory options. Let's go ahead and grab that. And then pretty much any place we see menu, we're just going to switch it. Oh, that's the other thing, is in here we're going to set... Actually, let's do it after. After current menu has been changed, we'll also add selected menu item equals 0. That will basically reset it so we start on the first option of inventory. Let's see. So let's actually try this. I guess we don't really need to try, we can just copy it. So we'll see really quick here which one is smoother, per se. So that's up. And we're going to change this to INV. Oops, not all that is capped. Okay. That's up, this is down. So let's grab this one. Select and back, I'm not too worried about right now. I'd kind of like to just make sure this ends up working. Alright, so that's definitely more condensed than this is up here. So we'll probably end up switching that around. Haha, did you see what I did there? Switching. Oh, and then this needs to change. Select a menu, total menu. Alright. Please compile, thank you. Alright, so theoretically what's going to happen here is all this should run, and I'm going to have to... I might... If this doesn't work, I may have to restart the map so that, because this is a global variable, so it might need to basically redo itself and reset everything in order to access it. I'm not sure. So in startup, we set all this up. We set up the inventory menu, which gets called first. Yeah, see, I need to set this to true so that it will reset itself when we run it. So then what's going to happen is this is going to run through, this is going to run through. When it calls the selection, though, we're actually going to get the input, but then it's going to check the current menu value. It's going to default to main, so all of this should still work, but when I press the select button, then the current menu should be equal to inventory, selected menu is equal to 0, and then it will end up moving to that. And when it gets up here, it's going to update to inventory menu, which is going to do this one, and then when we move around, we can move back and forth. theoretically. Now, I'm probably going to have to run it at least once, just so that it resets everything. And now we can probably set this back. Okay, so, moment of truth. We have our system here. Now, if I select... Haha! And it works! It works! Alrighty. That is awesome. Now, what do we have to do now? Now we have to code in the back button. What back should do... if... Actually, now that I think about it, back isn't necessary for the main menu, unless we ended up doing some screensaver, which would be amazing. For now, it's just going to do nothing. I'm just going to comment that out. I'm going to leave it there just in case we want to use it. Now, back on the inventory... Oops, that's caps lock, not tab. So we're already under the inventory case, so we know no matter what we do here, we're in the inventory menu. Right? Right. Good. So what we're going to do is say, if you hit the back button, then current menu equals main, and selected menu item equals 0. Now, in the future, when we do like the refinery code, I might set this to 1 or to 2 to basically back it up to the same tab that you had selected. Inventory just happens to be the first one, so, you know, whatever. But that's an idea. So we should be able... Oops! Ooh. That's a bug. Okay. Bug fixing. I think it's a bug. Maybe it's not. And remember, now if I hit up... Okay. That's interesting because this should be global, so it should remember what it is. Ah, I know what it's going on. Okay. Let's delete this. We're going to make this a blank variable. And what we're going to do is we're going to set it in startup. In setup main, we'll call this as set default starting point. Current menu equals, not minus, equals, blah, main. So what this is going to do is the first time the system runs, every time you boot up, it's going to default to the main menu, right? However, once it does, there shouldn't be anything instantiating it. I don't think. I don't know. This might break something because now it doesn't actually have anything to default to. So... I'm not too sure about that one. So all this works. If I run it, it goes to this. Okay, now if I edit, and then remember, that seems to be what's causing the problem. Nope, it's going back. Interesting. Alright, well, there's one way to fix this. Well, not fix per se, but test. Main display. Write public text. Let's do a couple new lines. And then add in current menu. And we'll append. Now, yeah, we're going to also add that into this to New line and constant. What? Oh. Oh. I don't need that. Never mind. There we go. That's better. Alright, so main. Where's my buttons? There we go. Alright, all that works. Nothing happens. Go back up. Inventory. Alright. Now, here's the kicker. If we remember this, what does this say? Huh. Seems like an order of operations problem, possibly. Now, just because we never tested this, what happens if we hit back? Alright, cool. So back doesn't do anything here, but if we select it, let's put like this. Now back. Where are you? Back. Where's the button? Seriously, where's the button? Alright, cool. So the back button works, but for some reason, oops, if you edit this and then exit back out, then you run it. Well, no, this one's fine. Wait a minute, what was that? Now, this is the down key. That was weird. It almost, I must have flipped over and hit the up one a couple times. But if we're in the inventory screen and we edit and back out, now... Alright, there's one other thing I want to try, and that is to turn the timer block on, which it should be, yeah, should be set up. So now, what I want to check... Okay, this all still works. Good. Now, I want to see what happens if I edit this and remember and just exit. Yeah, okay, it's defaulting back to main. Now, what I think is happening, I'm not 100% positive on this, what I think is happening is every time we're editing and then remembers code inside editor and returns the terminal panel, it's essentially resetting itself. So when it resets itself, the default value is overwritten, and it goes back to main. This would confirm my theory if we can pull this off. So what I'm going to do, since that didn't work anyway, we're going to remove this, and we're going to reset this, but what I'm going to start it with is inventory. Now, if I remember and back out, yeah, okay, that's what's going on. So every time you edit the code, that's good to know, actually, because I don't have to keep editing first run and stuff like that. So every time you edit the code and then come back to it, it's going to default, got it, to whatever the original is. Okay, so that's not really a bug, it's just resetting itself. Okay, good to know. Good to know. One other way we can confirm this is by using first run to string. Now it's probably going to say, whoops, where'd it go? It is first run, right? First run equals true. Where did I put that? Oh, that was in the inventory one, my bad. Gotta pay attention to where you put this stuff. Alright, false. So, what I want to do now is turn the timer block off. Edit, remember, run. False. Okay, well, why is main not staying then? Huh. This intrigues me. Huh. Let's check this. If I run it with inventory... Okay. Weird. So first run isn't changing, but current menu is. Or wait, no, that didn't change it. Now it's weird. Huh. That is so weird that this is not changing. I'm a knucklehead. It's because if it is actually running, it's changing it to false before it ever gets to the update display. I can be very derpy sometimes. Yeah. So it probably is actually resetting everything. It's just that I'm not allowing it to show you that before it happens. Okay. So we actually have a working, semi-working system now. If I can ever find these buttons. And then we can do stuff. Alright, so now the next thing. Now this is going to be really basic. But it will give us a good idea of how this is all going to work. Let's see. Where do I want to put this? Update displays. Let's do it after this. And we're going to do... let's display everything that has an inventory. How's that? Display inventories. Maybe. Now, we might need to actually utilize this here. Oh wait, no I don't. That's just set up displays. Set up controls. We don't really need this anymore. Actually though, let's block groups. I don't really need the block group thing. This might get changed now that we don't need lights and everything. I might just be able to reset it to look for blocks with the thing, the LCD, like main LCD display or something like that, instead of trying to go through the... Well, I could probably do that anyway. I don't know. I'll just leave it for now. So all we really need to do here... let's see. This is going to be the only disconnect here. Is if current menu equals inventory and right inventory menu. So I actually need to call it in here? Yes. So we're going to make this... Let's make this a switch, I guess. Yeah, we'll make this a switch. We'll say current menu. We're gonna need this for the default. It is gonna end up being 2 over, I think. So we'll just go ahead and tab all this over. I really wish there was a way to shift tab everything. And by that I mean like highlight everything like you can in some of the other IDs. Okay, we'll do that. Move that over. So here we're going to do our first case, which is inventory. Now actually, I didn't think about it, but we can do a simple, simplified version of this because we're already setting up the architecture. What I mean by that is we're going to grab all of this and put it under case main. Now, I'm not entirely sure if this is absolutely necessary, but it might streamline things a bit. And we'll need a break case. Okay, now what I'm doing here, oop, that wouldn't be good. Okay, what I'm doing here is we're basically getting rid of this entirely. And we're going to change this method to right menu. Let's do display, right menu display, like what it's going to be displaying. And then in this, we can remove this part here. And put right menu display. So essentially, what we're doing is we're cleaning it up to where it does it in this instead of in this function. You can do it either way, but this will minimize your code because you don't have as, like, repeating things like this stuff. You wouldn't have all that. So what I'm going to do, let's go ahead and make cases for everything, like refinery. What's the other ones? Power. And oxygen. For now, that'll be fine. And then I'm going to call these submenus, and these will be primary cases. Okay, so what we're going to do here is go case, display all inventories. Like that. Now, we don't actually have options to go through because now what we're doing is we're actually going through different items and objects and more complicated stuff. We won't actually be using this kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do here is say, can I write to? I should be able to do write public text because it's being called in this method before the update down here. Yeah, so that'll work. So we're just going to call display inventory all. We'll rename this inventories like that. And you can see why programs and stuff end up being very long, is you tend to break things up and compartmentalize everything, but it makes it easier to plug things in and out of and take things out like this. You know, you can just add a new case, and then in that case you can just add a new function, and then you just write a new function separately. You don't have to do it all within loops and things like that. So under display all inventories, what we need to do is, let's see, how, I'm trying to remember, I haven't worked with block groups in a minute. Or blocks, not block groups, so we can just do grid terminal system blocks at this. I think has inventory as part of a terminal block function, so we're going to do for int I equals 0, I is less than, oh geez, grid terminal system dot blocks dot count. I think we can do that. And then I++, maybe? We'll find out. Actually, I can just check it. Yeah, okay, that works. So this should loop through everything. Now we're going to go if grid terminal system dot blocks at I dot has inventory. That might be a Boolean value. Cannot convert method group has inventory to non-delegate type bool. Did you intend to vote? I don't know. Did I intend to invoke it as a method? Okay, I guess I did. So if has inventory equals true, I'm just going to copy this line up here because I don't like having to rewrite the whole thing all the time. Now, we do want it set to true, so it will append. Because again, the first line is going to clean the display, the second one is going to determine where everything is. So everything below our header should basically be clear. Clear to append, like we want to add everything to it. I'm going to leave the spacing for now. We don't always have to do it that way, but... And we're going to do grid terminal system dot block, or dot blocks dot I, custom name dot toString. And then we'll do a new line. Let's see if that works. Okay. Alrighty. So, theoretically, we should be able to go here, go down to display. Oh, wait, I didn't set that. Okay. I was like, oh no. But I forgot that in our selection of our menu, if the case is equal to 0, we're going to current menu. I'm going to actually duplicate this. Actually, no, let me grab this whole thing. Because we're going to need it down here in this selection menu for inventory as well. Oops, missed a line. And I do think I'm going to go through and space these at the breakpoint, so it's a little bit easier to read. Another thing you can do is you can also put the comments above when you break the casing like that. So for example, you could do something like this and then put it up here if you want to. It all comes down to what you determine is more readable and what you prefer. That one's fine. First of all, we only have 3 for now. This shouldn't ever get called, so I'll just put non-applicable at the moment. The first one is individual inventories. Second is summed. I don't know if no, that's not a word, I don't think. Total inventories. And then, so case 2 should be all inventories, or display. Let's just make it display. So it's easier to read. We're gonna cut this for now, because it's not necessary. Actually, no. I'm not gonna cut that. Because what we can do... What just happened? Wow, it completely undid all that. Yay. Did it undo all this? No, it did not. Okay, cool. Let's do individual, and I'll just change this to individual inventories, and we'll just have to, you know, not hit the button. The next one was total inventory. Oh, let's do summary. That makes more sense. There we go. And it doesn't really matter how long these strings are, because we're not ever going to see them. It's all internal code. So just keep that in mind when it's like, man, that's a lot to type. It's like once you get it plugged in, you're really not going to be using it that much. To where it's better to make sure it's clearly readable and you know exactly what it is. Okay, and we'll cancel this for now. Okay, so now what we want to do is kind of the same thing. Current menu equals, oh dang, what was the condition that I wrote? It's, where did it go? Display all inventories, okay. Wait, where? There we are. Okay. It works. Select that. Boom! What? Alright. So, I think that's actually accurate. Small reactor 1 through 3, small cargo container 1 and 2, assembler, refinery, large cargo crate connector. Let's actually double check that and make sure. None of these would have inventories. So there's small cargo crate over here. The conveyors can't have inventories. Reactor 1. That's a conveyor. I think this is accurate, actually. Reactor 2, large crate, assembler, refinery. Connectors over there. I deleted that connector over there. There is... Oh no, there, it got the third reactor. Okay. I was going to say, there is a third reactor. Yeah, that's right. Sweet. Now, the last thing I'll probably do, and we'll call it quits for this episode, is code in the back button. So, if we're in this, and we hit back, I want to go to inventory, and I'm going to set this to case 2. No, 0. We could... This is done inside... Oh, this is done inside inventory. Ooh. Ick. Okay. Well, what we can do here then is make a new case. We don't want to change this, actually. That will break things. And we'll say, in this case, if it's display all inventories. Let's see, I'm gonna need... We might just do an if statement for this. If... Partially just because it's quick and simple. I don't need to actually make it really complicated. If input is equal to back, then we're gonna do... I hate it when I tab too far. Current menu equals inventory. And we're gonna make the selected menu item equal to 2. The reason I'm doing that is I'm testing my theory. Control cannot fall through from one case label. I can... What now? Case inventory. Oh! Oh, hold on. I put this in the wrong place. This is outside the switch statement, I think. Maybe? No. Switch input. No, it should be fine. Because this is all to that breakpoint, so this should be a new case. So what's your deal? Control cannot fall through one case label. Case display inventories to another. Oh, do I not have... I don't have a break line. That's what it is. There is a way... I forget how to do it. There is a way, if you want to make a buffer, called, like, what is it? Case default? Or something like that. That you can put at the bottom. And then it, like, it doesn't... It's one of those, like, you can do fall-throughs and stuff like that to where it won't bother anything. But that's kind of not really necessary. The reason I put this at 2 is because I want to kind of test my theory about whether or not when we switch back, if it'll be highlighted on this tab. So we have display, and then when we back up, where's this stupid back button? Boom! Alright, awesome. And we can go back and forth. So let's hit... Oh gosh, this back button is killing me. Oh, this is getting kind of awesome. This is getting pretty cool. Where's my button? Come on, man. Yes! This is getting pretty sweet. Alright, and of course we can always do formatting changes for the scripts and all that kind of stuff. Like this kind of thing. We can always format stuff and put in real fancy looking things if we want to, things of that nature. So anyways, I think that'll about wrap us up for this episode. In the meantime, I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace!